There is a version of you that wakes up 10 minutes before the alarm and lies there deciding whether to rise or to stay. Most people think this is a small moment. It is not. It is the entire story of their life, compressed into 10 minutes, repeated every single morning until the pattern becomes the person. You already know this feeling. The blanket is warm. The bed does not ask anything of you. And somewhere in your mind, a very quiet voice tells you that 5 more minutes will not matter. That voice is not lying to you. 5 more minutes will not matter. But 5 more minutes, repeated for 5 more years, will cost you the very life you say you want. Here is what nobody tells you when you are young and hungry and starting out. Pain is not optional. It was never optional. The only decision you actually get to make is which pain you are willing to carry and when you are willing to carry it. One pain arrives early and leaves early. The other arrives quietly, disguised as comfort, and stays for the rest of your life. Ask yourself something honestly. Not the version of the answer you give at dinner parties, but the real one. Are you tired from doing hard things, or are you tired from avoiding them? Because those are 2 very different kinds of exhaustion, and only one of them is building something. We have all met the man who worked hard at something meaningless just to avoid the harder thing that actually mattered. We have all been that man at some point in some season. The tragedy is not that he was lazy. He was not lazy at all. The tragedy is that he was disciplined about the wrong pain and comfortable with the wrong ease. I want you to notice something about the way regret speaks. Regret never announces itself loudly at first. It never shows up at 30 and says, "Here I am, you will carry me now." It arrives in fragments, a skipped morning, a postponed conversation, a goal quietly downgraded into a wish. And by the time you finally hear it clearly, it has already been speaking for years. This is the choice sitting in front of every person who has ever wanted more than what their current habits are producing. Not a choice between hard and easy, a choice between 2 different weights carried on 2 different timelines. One, you choose. The other chooses you. So before we go further, sit with this question, because everything after it depends on how honestly you answer it. What are you avoiding right now that is quietly getting heavier the longer you wait? A small leak in a roof does not announce itself as a crisis. It drips quietly in a corner nobody checks for months, sometimes years. The homeowner walks past it daily. He tells himself it is minor. He tells himself he will deal with it once things slow down at work, once the season changes, once life gives him a more convenient window. Life rarely gives convenient windows. That is not how leaks or lives tend to work. This is exactly why most people stay stuck, and it has very little to do with intelligence or opportunity. They are not lacking information. Most people already know what they should be doing. They know the workout, the budget, the difficult conversation, the business idea sitting untouched in a notebook. What they are avoiding is not the task itself. It is the discomfort of starting something that will not reward them immediately. Comfort has a strange kind of gravity. It does not pull hard enough to notice in a single day, but it pulls constantly, and constant force wins over time. A man who skips one workout has lost nothing. A man who skips workouts for 3 years has lost the body, the energy, and often the confidence he once had, without ever experiencing a single dramatic moment where the loss occurred. It just accumulated, quietly, the way water finds its way into wood. Here's the part that stings a little. The pain of discipline is loud and immediate. Your legs burn during the workout. Your bank account looks smaller after you set money aside. The conversation feels awkward the moment you have it, because this pain announces itself clearly. People mistake it for the bigger threat. Meanwhile, the pain of avoidance works in silence, and silence is far more dangerous than noise, because you cannot fight what you refuse to hear. Consider how differently people treat a visible wound compared to a hidden one. A cut on the hand gets attention immediately, because you can see it bleeding. But a slow erosion of purpose, a career that quietly plateaued, a marriage that quietly grew distant, a body that quietly stopped being cared for. These do not bleed where anyone can see them, so they go untreated far longer than they should. And by the time the damage becomes visible, the years required to reverse it have already multiplied. This is why willpower alone rarely solves the problem. Willpower reacts to what is loud. It responds well to emergencies. But the real danger in most lives is not the emergency. It is the slow leak nobody is checking, the corner of the roof nobody has looked at honestly in a long time. So the real question is not whether you are capable of hard things. You already know you are. The real question is whether you are willing to check the corners of your own life before the damage forces you to. There is a principle that changes everything once you actually understand it, and it is simpler than most people expect. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is payment made in advance on a debt you were always going to owe. The only real question life ever asks you is whether you will pay it now, at a fair price, or later, with interest. Think about how debt works in ordinary life. If you owe something and you pay it early, the amount stays small and manageable. If you delay, the interest compounds, quietly, invisibly, until the number in front of you barely resembles what it once was. Pain behaves the exact same way. The discomfort of training your body today is small. The discomfort of rebuilding a broken body at 50 is enormous. The discomfort of an honest conversation this week is minor. The discomfort of a relationship that collapsed under years of things left unsaid is not minor at all. This is the turning point most people never reach, because it requires giving up a comforting lie. The lie says that if you wait long enough, the hard thing will somehow become optional. It will not. Life does not remove the bill. It only adds interest while you look away. Once you accept that pain is not avoidable, only postponable, your entire relationship with discipline changes. You stop seeing it as something being done to you and start seeing it as something you are choosing on purpose, with clear eyes, because you understand what the alternative actually costs. That shift from victim of discipline to owner of discipline is where real change begins. I want you to notice something else. People who seem naturally disciplined are rarely more comfortable with hard things than you are. They have simply made peace with paying early. They have accepted, often through hard experience, that the version of pain that comes now is always smaller than the version that comes later. They are not stronger. They are just no longer negotiating with the bill. This is also why motivation fails so often as a long-term strategy. Motivation tries to make the payment feel exciting. It rarely lasts because paying a bill is not supposed to feel thrilling. It is supposed to feel necessary. The people who succeed long-term are not the ones who feel most inspired. They are the ones who have simply stopped arguing with what is owed. So here is where we stand. You now know that the pain is coming regardless. You now know that waiting only makes the number larger. The only thing left to decide is timing. And timing is the one thing you still have full control over. But knowing this in theory and living it in practice are two very different things. And the gap between those two is exactly where most people quietly lose the years they can never get back. Picture two men standing at the exact same point in life. Same age, same starting income, same ordinary hopes for something better. Neither one is exceptional. Neither one is broken. They simply stand at the same line, on the same day, looking at the same open road ahead of them. One of them begins paying the early bill. He wakes when the alarm sounds, not when the mood strikes. He reads when he could scroll. He saves when he could spend the whole check without thinking. None of it feels remarkable while he is doing it. There is no music playing, no crowd watching. It looks, from the outside, like nothing is happening at all. The other man makes 1,000 small, forgivable decisions in the opposite direction. He is not reckless. He is not foolish. He is simply comfortable, one ordinary choice at a time. He tells himself there is time later for the harder path. He is not wrong about any single day. He is only wrong about all of them added together. 10 years pass. Not dramatically. Quietly, the way most of life actually passes. And now the two men, who once stood at the identical line, are living in what looks like two different worlds. One has built skill, savings, health, and options. The other has built comfort, and comfort alone does not compound the way discipline does. Here is what makes this so easy to miss in real time. On any single day inside those 10 years, the difference between the two men was almost invisible. You could have watched either one for an afternoon and seen nothing extraordinary. The gap was never created by one big moment. It was created by thousands of small ones, each too quiet to notice, each too small to feel like it mattered. Think of a garden left untouched for a season. Nothing dramatic happens on day 1 or day 10. The weeds do not arrive as an event. They arrive as a habit of neglect, one day blending into the next, until the whole plot is unrecognizable and the work required to restore it is far greater than the work it would have taken to maintain it. Neglect is patient. It never rushes. It knows time is on its side if you keep giving it your days for free. This is the part people resist hearing, because it removes the excuse of circumstance. Both men had the same weather, the same economy, the same 24 hours. The difference was never the conditions around them. The difference was what each man was willing to pay early, and what each man assumed he could postpone indefinitely. You already know which man you have been more often. Most of us have been both, in different seasons of our own lives. The real question is not which man you were last year. The real question is which one you are choosing to be starting today. So how does any of this actually work in a Tuesday afternoon, in a life full of traffic and emails and tired evenings? Because principles are easy to admire and hard to apply, and the gap between the two is where most good intentions quietly die. Here is the part that will surprise you. You do not need a new personality to apply this. You do not need to wake up transformed. You only need to notice one thing that most people never slow down enough to see. The moment of choice is almost always shorter than 5 seconds. It arrives and it passes. And most of us never even register that it happened. Stand in a checkout line for a moment and watch how decisions actually get made. A person glances at something within reach, something small and immediate, and either takes it without thinking or sets it down without thinking. Nobody deliberates for 20 minutes standing there. The choice is made in an instant, almost below conscious awareness, and then the rest of the day simply follows from it. Discipline works the exact same way. The alarm rings, and within 5 seconds you have already decided, often without realizing you decided anything at all. This means the work is not what you assumed it was. You are not trying to overhaul your entire day. You are trying to win one 5-second window, and then another, and then another. That is the whole method. Not forcing yourself through 16 hours of willpower, but simply staying alert enough to notice the window when it opens, so you can choose on purpose instead of by default. Start with identifying where your windows actually are. For most people, they show up in the same 3 or 4 places, morning after morning. The moment before checking a phone, the moment before opening a wallet, the moment before speaking a hard truth or swallowing it instead, the moment before sitting down to do the work that matters or reaching for something easier close by. These are not random. They repeat daily, almost identically, which means they are also the easiest place to practice. Do not try to fix every window at once. Pick one, just one. Win it deliberately for 30 days until it stops requiring effort and starts requiring nothing at all, the way brushing your teeth requires nothing at all. Then, and only then, move to the next window. This is slower than most people want, and it is also the only version of this that actually lasts. And when you miss a window, and you will, do not turn it into a verdict on your character. A missed window is not proof you are undisciplined. It is simply information. It tells you exactly where your attention needs to go tomorrow. The people who win this long term are not the ones who never miss. They are the ones who keep noticing. Small windows, chosen on purpose, are the entire mechanism behind every version of the disciplined man we described a moment ago. Nothing more complicated than that was ever required. Go back, for a moment, to that bed we started with. 10 minutes before the alarm. The blanket still warm. The quiet voice telling you 5 more minutes will not matter. You know that voice well by now. You have heard it every single morning of your life, and it has never once introduced itself as the beginning of anything important. That is exactly why it works on so many people for so many years. But you are not most people anymore, not after everything we have walked through together. You now know that pain was never optional, only its timing. You now know that comfort does not announce itself as a threat. It just accumulates quietly, the way water finds its way through wood nobody has checked in years. You now know that 10 years from today, 2 men will exist where you now stand, and only one of them will have been paying his bill early. Here is what I want you to understand before you go back to your day. None of this requires you to become a different person. It requires you to notice one 5-second window tomorrow morning and choose it on purpose instead of by default. That is the entire task, not a new life by Friday. One window, chosen honestly, one time. Discipline was never about being someone extraordinary. It was always about being someone who pays early, in small amounts, long before the bill grows into something that frightens him. You already have everything required to start that tomorrow. You always did. The only thing that was ever missing was the decision to stop postponing what you already knew you owed. So when that alarm sounds tomorrow, and that same quiet voice tells you 5 more minutes will not matter, I want you to remember this conversation. Not as motivation, which fades by lunchtime, but as a debt you have already agreed to pay. Rise before the mood arrives. Choose the harder conversation before it becomes an unspoken wound. Set the money aside before you convince yourself you deserve the spending instead. If this reached something in you today, do not let it end here, quietly, the way most good intentions end. Follow this channel, not because it needs your attention, but because you need the reminder next week and the week after, when the voice returns and tries again. Growth is rarely a single decision. It is a series of small returns to the same idea, until the idea finally becomes who you are. The 2 pains are still standing in front of you, exactly as they were at the beginning of this. One is loud and small and passes quickly. The other is quiet and patient and grows for as long as you allow it to. You already know which one you have been avoiding. The only question left, the only one that has ever mattered, is what you intend to do about it starting tomorrow morning.